I can't take it anymore. All these tariffs, man, they keep slapping me with mock draft tariffs out here. I'm done. I'm going out here with a 3-round mock draft, and we got a 7-round mock draft as well coming out here later on this week. I'm saying let's bring on more. I'm all 125% now, 150%. We're going all the way here. But with this one, it's going to be 3 rounds, and we got some trades. So let's get right into it, man. And I can't wait to show this draft is getting more and more interesting with the Cleveland Browns possibly not taking a quarterback as well. A lot of rumors circulating, but this number one overall pick, pretty straightforward. I think it's Cam Ward. I think that one's pretty much locked in, and we're going with that direction. Now with this second overall pick, I have no idea what the Browns really is. Are they going Kirk Cousins? Is that the way that they see? It seems that's where they're leaning at this point, at least. And I don't blame him for that because I do think Travis Hunter, or at least he, for me, is the number one player in this class. Travis Hunter, he's been number one. He is number one. And I've never done that to me has not ever changed in this process. Hunter has been the best player in college football going back to last season. He is just the dual threat that he brings. He's a one-on-one unicorn. They could use help in the secondary and at wide receiver. And then the Giants at number 3. This is where the first trade's going to happen. I really like the idea. Oh, and there, so even here for me, I'm telling you, they get smarter and smarter. This AI technology now, even the computers, they read you. I was talking to my brother about something the other day. All of a sudden, it pops up on his phone. And it's just wild stuff, man. He never even searches this stuff, and it just happens. But with this one here, the Carolina Panthers, I'm going to give up 2 twos to come up to number 3, and we're going to be selecting edge rusher Abdul Carter. Self-explanatory. They've been looking for that number 1 edge since losing Brian Burns. Well, they got him in Abdul Carter. Number 4, New England Patriots. Another easy pick. This isn't one that's already written in stone, I would say at this point. Will Campbell, the tackle from LSU. And you probably say, oh, is he a tackle? Yes, he is. He can play tackle. I'm not worried about it. I know he's old. He's got the short arms. No, he can do it, man. He's just fine. He held up versus SEC competition, no problem. Jared Verse gave him the toughest competition, but Jared Verse is a very, very good football player. And then we go on to number 5, the Jaguars, another one that just seems to be out in it's one's going to happen is Mason Graham at number 5. Now that I say that it won't happen, but I think very likely it's going to be the play unless somebody jumps up and trades. Maybe the Raiders would get aggressive. I don't think they'd do that, but the Jets, I guess, could get up and trade with New England somehow, some way. Sure, they would rip them off. But on to number 6, the Raiders here. Everyone's saying Ashton Jeanty, book it in, right? Not so fast. We got a little shakeup today. And with the Raiders, Pete Carroll has done something a lot in his every single time he comes in as a new coach, he typically goes defensive back. Now, we're going to trade here, okay? Because the Jets are at number 7. So I'm thinking to myself, who would want to jump up in front of the Jets for either Tyler Warren or Armin Embu? Because that to me seems like the 2 possibilities, right? That the Jets would be looking at. So what about the San Francisco 49ers coming up here from number 11 to number 6 with the Raiders? I'm going to give up a 3rd rounder. Maybe it's something next year like a 4th rounder or something like that. It shouldn't be super expensive, moving up 5 spots or so. It's not like it's inside the top 5. It's still going to be costly. You got to give up a day 2 pick. But at the same time, they get comp picks for days. I'm sure they've got like 20 comp picks for next year as well. So we're forcing that trade through. And we are going to be selecting Armin Embu, right tackle, Mizzou, and solidifying that offensive line. And talking about freakish athleticism, similar of Trent Williams. He was compared with the athletic traits of Trent Williams when you looked at the combine, those traits. He certainly has the talent. So let's see if he can be that future right tackle for them. And Cole McKivitz can move inside if you need him to. He has a lot of versatility in that regard. Now with the Jets at number 7, well, you got Armin Embu off the board, which to me was the pick that I would go with every single week. But now that that's gone, well, I'm going to go ahead and take Tyler Warren. No problem about it. Tyler Warren, great football player. He can play quarterback for them too if they need him to. Hopefully Justin Fields can be a very good quarterback. But Tyler Warren, just all around, he's a tough-nosed kid, blocking. He can do it. Pass catching. He's one of the most physical, gifted guys in the draft class, and going to be an excellent addition for that Jets team to go along with Ruck there for Justin Fields in that tight end room. And then we go on to number 8 here for the New York Football Giants, and this one's gonna flame a lot of people. I'm telling you right now. I'm going to Ashton Jeanty, the Boulder from Boise State. You're like, what? What are you doing? Are you high right now? No, I just think Ashton Jeanty, after making the Saquon Barkley whole fiasco, losing him and everything like that, you say, well, why do you go back and take another running back at the top 10? Jeanty is unbelievable. He's best player available. They traded back. They've gotten 2 extra second-round picks, one for this season and for next year and into the future. their roster doesn't have a whole ton of holes. If you're going to roll with Russell Wilson and Jameis Winston, I want to go ahead and make sure we have a great running game. And you could go Shedeur Sanders there. I could totally see that and investing in quarterback because they still need to invest in a quarterback for the future. But they need to win right now. This Brian Dable and Joe Shane, they need to win. What are they going to do to find players that can put in a position that they can win football games and get to the playoffs? I think Jeanty gives them the best possibility in that in that potential. And they also, like I said, they have second round picks where they could trade back up into the first round and select Jackson Dart or whatever at the back end of the first round if they want to do that. Maybe we explore that later on. Anyway, on to the Bears here at number 10, or sorry, the New Orleans Saints. I'm skipping over you guys. I'm sorry. What am I doing out here? I'm going to go ahead and take a Jalen Walker edge rusher here for Brandon Staley and that defense, which will be switching to more of a 3-4 style of defense this year. So let's get somebody that can rush off the edge and also drop back into coverage if needs be and be a versatile defender. But now moving on to number 10 in the Chicago Bears. And I'm going to shake things up a little bit, right? And you look at the board, normally you used to be saying, oh, Ashton Jeanty, Tyler Warren, like one of those guys is available for Ben Johnson in that offense. Now, in this case scenario, they're both off the board. So what am I going to do? I think it comes down to more defensive line or maybe even a linebacker, right, at this point. And I'm throwing it out there. I like Jihaad Campbell. Ben Johnson, well, I mean, he wasn't the decision maker, but he knows the value of having a great linebacker and Jack Campbell into your defense and what that does for you. I'm going Jihaad Campbell here. And from Alabama, one of the best players in this draft class. And his film is just unbelievable. I mean, he's got a great film. The torn pectoral is the only, thing that I would worry about per se with this pick. I'm not worried about the value because as a blitzer, he'll give you value there. And as a linebacker that could drop into coverage, he can do everything. Like, he really can. And I think that when you look at the contracts, TJ Edwards and also Tremaine Edmonds, they're likely to move on from one of those guys here very soon. I could see one of those dudes being traded and packaged somewhere out. So don't be surprised if that happens very, very soon, especially if they were to draft Jihaad Campbell. But even if they keep him, both of those guys could be gone after this next season. Edmonds could be cut, and then Edwards is a free agent. So I think Campbell makes a ton of sense. They could play early in some sort of role, whether it's as a hybrid edge rusher, package blitzer, whatever you want to do with him. But Campbell can see the field and is going to be just a difference maker for them in that linebacking core into the long haul. That guy just brings the boom, man. And then we go on to the Raiders here at number 11. As I mentioned earlier, he loves to go with defensive backs. There's a Nicky Manwari on the board here, Malachi Starks, Will Johnson. I think there's a lot of possibilities, but that's what we're going to do here is we're going to go Will Johnson, the Michigan corner. I just think he's a Pete Carroll type of corner, Patrick Ramp. Go get a nice player for them in that secondary to be a cornerstone number 1 player, and Dakarian Bennett can be a great number 2 for them. On to number 12, the Dallas Cowboys. I'm going Ted McMillan. Self-explanatory here. They've been looking for a number 2 weapon opposite of CeeDee Lamb. They go get it. Air McMillan, slide it right in there. Number 13, Miami Dolphins. I'm going safety there. They need DBs. They need help in that secondary. I'm going with the freakiest athlete in this class. This guy's made in a lab, and it's Nicky Manwari. I will say, he's not just made in a lab. Like, his film is legit good. So I love that with Nicky Manwari. You watch South Carolina games, and you're going to notice this guy right here, number 7, makes plays for days. And then we go on to the Indianapolis Colts. Where's the tight end position? Oh, there it is. Colston Loveland. I'm sliding it in there. Easy pick from me. Let's go get a beastly tight end for the Colts. And we go on to the Atlanta Falcons. Another easy pick. Let's get an edge rusher. I don't even need to go down the board. I'm going Mike Green, the edge rusher from Marsha. Do I need to explain that pick? Let's get an edge rusher. They need help. They need help bad. They got Leonard Floyd in there, but that's not going to stop me. Arnold Ebiketie is pretty good. But yeah, on to the Cardinals. This is one of the toughest picks for me in an entire mock draft scenario. I really struggle with this one because they've added so many defensive linemen and whatnot. Like, I know they still could use somebody there for the future, so that's why I still wouldn't rule out a Kenneth Grant, a Derek Harmon, or whatever, right? But at the same time, they also could use secondary help here. They could use a future tackle. Maybe you could slide somebody into guard right away. At least compete with Isaiah Adams. I mean, Adams played solid, but at the same time, I still like the idea of going Josh Simmons here or one of these tackles, and you put him in at guard early on if you want him to. Simmons doesn't have to play early on. It's such a tough. They could go secondary here too. Like, they could go Jihaad Campbell. I'm gonna go Josh Simmons though here and go back to the Ohio State University, work for them once and getting Paris Johnson. Now we're gonna go get Josh Simmons, who has right tackle experience at San Diego State, so I feel confident with that. But he's also a guy that could stick in at guard. He has the traits. He's really strong. He's a great run blocker, has the movement skills, and can hang up at guard early on if they wanted to put him over at that right guard position or left guard because, hey, Evan Brown can play anywhere on that interior offensive line. So you just figure it out. You get your best 5 offensive linemen out there with the injuries that they've had with Jonah Williams. Yeah, maybe that they can work out from Texas last year and drafting Christian Jones, but hey, we'll see how it works out. I just think Josh Simmons would be an immense full presence on their offensive line and keep that thing rolling. It's definitely not their biggest need, but I just think he's best available at this point. And then on to the Cincinnati Bengals here at number 16. This is another one where it's a little tricky because I feel like Al Golden is going to come in here. It's like, what is he really looking for from his defense, right? That's going to be the key. I am going to go with defensive line here, but I could see them going Malachi Starks, who's on the board right now. I think that would be a really good pick for them, too. A lot of really good options. Like Malachi Starks could be that true free safety that they've been looking for since losing Jesse Bates. So if they want to make that decision, I just don't know. I really don't know what they're going to value at this point in their defense, and that's going to be the key going forward. But I'm going to address the defensive line. Miles Murphy, at this point, I still just there's a lot of unknowns there, whether he could be a full-time starter for them. You got Joseph Osai, who could maybe be the Viper in that defense for Al Golden. I want to make sure we add somebody else into this room, at least to develop and give them some more depth opposite of Trey Henderson. And hey, if they don't give him a contract, then they're really screwed. So we got to add a pass rusher in here. And interesting. Which option do I go with? Look, I'm gonna try to be somewhat realistic with this. I think Shamar Stewart is going to go off the board with those freakish tools. So that's what we're gonna do here. The Texas A&M pass rusher here with those elite traits, Mario Edwards, Jadeveon Clowney traits, and Myles Garrett, et cetera, et cetera. The 40-inch vertical is insane. On to the Seattle Seahawks here, number 18. We're going with Luther Burden right now. Hey, they could, never know, but it's offensive line. I think that is the clear need for them, and that's where I am going to be going here. I am going to go with, let's go, Tyler Book. There's so many good options for them, but I'm going to go ahead and take Kelvin Banks Jr., a tackle. I think he moves inside a guard at the next level. I really see him as a guard. I think he'll really struggle a little bit more at the tackle position at the next level. Like, don't get me wrong, he could try and he could be an emergency swing tackle for them right tackle, even though he doesn't have experience at right tackle. I just think at left guard, you got a huge hole there. You put him right in, and he's gonna be a great starter for them. He has the strength to hold up on the interior. On to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers here, and I'm going to go ahead and take a versatile defensive back for Todd Bowles in that defense. They have a lot of versatile backs in there, but Malachi Starks just adds another piece. Remember, Isian can play in the slot, even though they got Tyke that can, be a stud for them in the slot. I just think they need more DB depth, and that's been clear, too, that Todd Bowles wants more help in the secondary. So I'm going to go grab Malachi Starks from Georgia, just a blue chip type of player, and maybe he doesn't have the, you don't the positional value. You could say whatever, but Starks is a beast and going to help out their secondary tremendously. And then we go on to the Broncos here, and you're saying to yourself, okay, let's just go get an offensive piece, right? I do think at the end of the day, running back is very much going to be in play for them in the first round. I really do. It would not shock me if Amari Hampton goes off the board here, but I'm going a different route today. Yes, you're in an okay spot. They got back Justin Jones, but John Franklin Myers, a guy that I could see being traded before the season starts. So I'm gonna go in. Also, you got to think about for the future. That's something too. Like they need to get a little younger on here. Zach Allen's going to a contract year, I believe. And actually, I think he's under contract for another year. But no matter what, like they could use some more help to go along if John Franklin Myers doesn't be in the long-term plans with the contract negotiations going on there. So I'm going to go grab Walter Nolan from Ole Miss and help out on that defensive line, get him another pass rusher there. On to the Pittsburgh Steelers here at number 21. You're like, wait a minute, Shedeur Sanders, has he come off the board yet, G-Sling? No, he hasn't. Here he goes. Shedeur Sanders of the Pittsburgh Steelers. Screw the Aaron Rodgers situation. We're going quarterback. I'm done with this whole thing. My brother's a Steelers fan. My dad's a Steelers fan. They're fed up of it. I'm sure Pittsburgh Steelers, he's already holding us captive. No more. I'm going quarterback there. Gosh. On to the Bolts here at 22. I think for them, I mean, you could look at another playmaker. Matthew Golden's still on the board, too. That's insane, I will say. But I think they need defensive interior pretty bad and more defensive lineup, and that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to go grab Kenneth Graham, Michigan Wolverine, and the Jim Harbaugh connection. Got to do it, man. Got to do it for the culture. On to the Green Bay Packers. This is where the Matthew Golden fall stops. Let's go get a guy for Gutekunst that had some speed. Maybe he doesn't have the size that Gutekunst is looking for, but he gives him some speed. With Christian Watson being likely out for at least a good chunk of the season, Golden can come right in and help him do that. probably the most unrealistic pick in this first round, getting a wide receiver for the Packers. What, in the first round? No way. On to the Minnesota Vikings. Skull, skull, skull. Well, we're going to trade down, trade down, trade down. And this is another reason if I had the Raiders, I was trying to trade down earlier because I was thinking to myself, a lot of the players that I want for the Raiders are kind of in like that 15 to 35 clump, right? Or 15 to like 30 clump or somewhere in there, if that makes any sense. And I have a vision here. Okay, let's find the Raiders wherever they are. Here we are. Okay. So we're going to trade up from 37 with the Skull Nation to 24. We're going to trade. Let's go and trade 68, and I think that's, a third rounder. Maybe we throw in like one of these picks here, like 180 later on, and that gets the deal done for the Vikings. They need more draft capital, okay? I'd even throw in maybe this last pick or whatever. That gives them 3 extra picks, and for the Raiders, it's a win because we're coming up to add a big-time playmaking weapon for quarterback Geno Smith, new quarterback Geno Smith, who just got a nice contract. And I'm going with Luther Burden III, going to be that 3-level player threat in this offense. And got to add some help for Chip Kelly. It's just it's a piece. Pete Carroll, of course, is the coach. Chip Kelly and the offensive coordinator. Luther Burden, what a draft that would be. You got Will Johnson as that #1 corner. You got Luther Burden III as your #1 wide receiver. It's my favorite draft for the Raiders. I know. Let me know what you think about that. You got to give us some draft capital. It is what it is. But you also trade it back, and it's a win-win in my view. So, yeah, you get a running back here on day 2 still with that third-round selection. On to the Houston Texans at number 25. And you know what? Defensive line, let's go ahead and add somebody into there for the future, right? And you look at the board here, I'm going Derek Harmon, really the last true. I mean, I like Tyreek Williams a lot. I mean, some people will say he's just more of a run defender guy, doesn't give you a ton of pass rush. But we'll go Derek Harmon here. I think he's truly a first-round guy, and getting him into that defensive line just makes that front 4 even better than it already is. And he would also be the guy that would be under contract because everybody except for like Mario Edwards is not under contract on that defensive line after the season. On to the Los Angeles Rams. For the Rams, I'm just going to go ahead and go BPA here. And James Pierce Jr. is tantalizing. I'm not going to lie. That is really interesting. Yeah, screw it. You know what? We're going edge rusher here for the Rams. I'm shaking it up. I feel like doing it today. And look, they need depth there, like really bad. Losing Michael Hoyt is going to be a big loss. I mean, they've got guys who can step up, like no doubt about it. But at the same time, Mikael Williams would be a player that could play inside at 5-tech for them. And that way, Byron Young can still play off the edge. Obviously, you got Jared Verse. But why not continue to bolster this defensive line? I just think it's too good to pass up the value here. And James Pierce Jr. would be nice too. I just, worry a little bit about him as a run defender, right? You've got a lot of guys to get after the quarterback. And Mikael Williams still can get after the quarterback, but he'll help them out in that regard, which is a little bit of a weakness for them. Remember, they don't really value linebackers a whole ton. And I'm going Mikael Williams. I'm doing it, right? Let me know what you think on that one, but it is definitely a little bit different. On to the Baltimore Ravens here. And the Ravens, I would say they go either defensive interior or offensive line. I think those are the two. I mean, don't rule out a wide receiver for them either. I could definitely see them going that route, but with the defensive tackles now off the board here, that I would say, first round value or whatever, like I said, I do like Tyreek Williams. I'm going to go offensive line. Okay, let's go ahead and get a kind of like a replacement for Patrick McCarry. This is a guy that can do it all on the offensive line, just can be that versatile piece for them. Gray's able. They had to make a tough decision. It was him or bringing back Ronnie Stanley. They chose Ronnie Stanley, keeping that left tackle so important. So I understand that. But now you go get Zabel, who can be that 6th offensive lineman earlier or whatever. It's like it still has Andrew Voorhees in competition, but it's going to really help them out. On to the Detroit Lions, number 28 overall. It's offensive line or it's edge rusher. I think those are the 2 areas. I mean, there's other areas that they could possibly look at, but I'm going to, look at the board here. Look at these edge rushers available. I'm going to go grab one of these guys. Both will be fantastic additions. I'm going to go get James Pierce Jr. out of Tennessee. With those tools, the talent, the athletic profile, him and Aiden Hutchinson just screaming off the edge. I'm signed up for that one. On to the Washington Commanders. Ezraku's not going to make it very far. I'm going with him right here, number 29 overall. They need a pass rusher opposite of Dorrance Armstrong. And then with the Buffalo Bills here, self-explanatory. They need a cornerback opposite of Christian Benford. Let's go get Jahdae Barron. And he can also help them out in so many ways. Like, he could play in the slot. Taron Johnson, if he gets injured or whatever, like he's had some injuries lately. Barron can play a little in the slot for them. He can play on the outside. Can play DB if they need him to, right? He gives them another defensive back that they need in that secondary to close out games, man. They struggle in big situations. On to the Chiefs, number 31 overall. Man, the Chiefs are such a difficult position to go after. But you know what? There's a guy on the board, Josh Connolly Jr. I just can't pass up on Connolly. And for the Chiefs, like you cannot go into next season and just hope that Jalen Moore works out. Like I've not seen him full time in a true like 7-step drop offense. You got to think about that. Shanahan does a lot of get their offensive linemen on the move scenarios, and it's going to help out. And I want to give credit. Jalen Moore looked good. I mean, I watched the games that he played, and he did show up, and he looked like a starting tackle. At the same time, though, you also at the right tackle position of the future, it could be a question mark for them, and they just really cannot go into next season with their offense line in question mark. They have to make sure that they can protect the quarterback. So it is frustrating that you got to take so many offensive linemen back to back, and you're investing so much, but at the same time, it's such a critical thing. Defensive tackle is probably the biggest need on the roster that I would say right now that they could look to fill. But once again, all those guys really, Tyleik Williams could be in question here too. But yeah, I'm going to go Connolly. Very good football player. I think he's got a super high floor for them as a pass protector. On to the last pick of the draft, Howie Roseman, the deal maker. Let's make it happen, okay? We're going to trade back here. One pick with the Cleveland Browns coming up for a quarterback. And it's just going to be to get that fifth-year option. That's really what this is. And it's something I think the Browns could do. And in this scenario, what is it going to cost? It shouldn't cost too much. We'll do a pick swap. We'll do something like this where the Browns don't have to give up a pick, but to pay for that fifth year option, they have to do a little swap of a fourth rounder or something like that. And we'll force that deal through. And with this pick, we're going to go ahead and take Jackson Dart, quarterback, Ole Miss. I'm lower on Jackson Dart personally. That's just me, but consensus, and I'm trying to keep it somewhat realistic. I think Dart might end up going in the first round or at least at the top of the second round. But you get that fifth-year option, and clearly they need a quarterback. They got to invest in that position. Jameis Winston now is gone to the Giants, and obviously Deshaun Watson's not the future there. They've already admitted their mistake. So get a quarterback in there. On to the second round now in the Philadelphia Eagles. And fly, Eagles, fly. We got to get some more secondary help. Like Howie Roseman's seeing the value of adding some safeties or adding some secondary players in there. So what am I going to do? I know pass rush is on his mind. It's always on his mind. That's just Howie Roseman. But I'm going to go get Xavier Watts, safety, Notre Dame. I'll be saying it's a little high, right? Oh, whatever. But hey, at least we traded down a little bit. And Xavier Watts is a phenomenal player. Like Sidney Brown maybe can start for them, but Xavier Watts, Reed Blankenship, that gives you two amazing safeties there. Watts is just a tried true player there at Notre Dame. Ball production, consistent ball production, makes plays, just has a nose for the football. Going to be another playmaker with Cooper DeJean and Quinion Mitchell in that secondary. Woo! And then we go on to number 34 here for the New York Football Giants. And the New York Football Giants now, after going first round, Ashton Jeanty, remember we traded back, get some extra draft capital. Look at all these day 2 picks we have. Oh my gosh, we're going to have 4 more selections. We got to get busy for this team. A running back, you're like, what? I can't believe that one, right? This is an easy pick for me. Tyler Booker fall stops here. This guy, I think, goes in the first round. Booker's a plug-and-play guard for them. They can put him at left guard, and you can move John Runyon back over to maybe his more native position at right guard. Greg Van Roten can be your swing man. Like, that's building a foundation. I mean, Donovan Jackson would be a good pick here, too. I'm a little higher on Booker, so I'm going to go with that off the board. But Jackson, you could say, could be the right tackle of the future, possibly could also play guard for them. So I understand that. That's very much in the play for them. And I don't mind that, but I'm going to go with Booker here. I'm a little higher, and I got to go with that off the board there. And I think he'll be a plug-and-play day 1 starter for them at guard. And not that Jackson couldn't be either. I like Booker there. And then we go on to the Tennessee Titans here, number 35 overall. I'm actually going to go with, they need more pass rush here, but I'm going to go with Emeka Egbuka, add a playmaker. Got to get another playmaker for Cam Ward. I'll make sure we prioritize that on the offense side. We got a good offensive line now. Hopefully, right, Dan Moore could be that left tackle. J.C. Latham is the right tackle. And then you go get Emeka Egbuka to be that number 2 with Calvin Ridley. Then on to the Jacksonville Jaguars, number 36 overall. And for the Jags, I think wide receivers in play here. More secondary help always in the cards for them. I know they've invested in it in free agency, but still, I think they could use some more help there. I'm going to trade back, though, here. I'm going to go ahead and look to make a maneuver back, and a team, New Orleans Saints, again, this AI, I don't know what they're doing out here. It's crazy. They're wizards. Now, it's not going to be super expensive. I'm going to go 131, pick swap for like 194, something like that. It's only 4 picks in the second round. We're going to force that through. For New Orleans, I want to go ahead and get another cornerback in there opposite. Yes, you got Isaac Yiadom, but I like him as more of a 4th corner that can play for injuries. I want to make sure that they got somebody else in that secondary. So we're going to go ahead and add another corner here. I'm going to go add in Maxwell Harrison, the speedster from Kentucky, going to be a ball hawk for them in that defense. And just continue to bolster that up, man. Continue to build the secondary. And then next pick, we got the Minnesota Skull, Skull, Skull. Now we go again. After trading down in the first round, we get up to this first round pick. And I'm going to go ahead and add a corner. I think there's another area. That's why I jumped them to get another corner in front of them. I am going to go and get some size out here and some Azaria Thomas from Florida State. Love Benjamin Morrison. I'm also trying to be realistic with things. I just don't know where he's going to go because of the injury concern. And the Minnesota Vikings have already dealt with issues with injuries, right? And Andrew Booth, and maybe they don't want to try to do that again. Isaiah Thomas is going to be the selection here from Florida State. And look, Thomas is a great player. I like Thomas a ton. I have him as a back end of the first round guy, and he's going to be a nice guy with some size. Then we go on to the New England Patriots here at number 38 overall. And for the Patriots, first round, remember we got Will Campbell. Second round, I'm going to go ahead and add some more edge talent. And I'm going to go back to the Big Ten. I'm going to go get a culture guy. I think Vrabel's really coming in here, trying to get some dudes for that locker room that are going to be immediate impacts in the locker room and on the football field. Sawyer, Captain Jack Sawyer is going to do that, right? Clutch Captain Jack Sawyer, should I say. So we go get Will Campbell and Jack Sawyer to help out on the offense and defense side of the ball. Wide receivers still could be in play there too. Maybe a Jay Niggins, certainly possible. But let's get some up on that defense. Continue to bolster that defensive line to add on with Keon White and Harold Landry and, what did they got? Kayvon Chase on a 1-year deal and stuff. You still have Anfernee Jennings as like an early down run defender type. But yeah, I want to add another edge rusher in there for the future. And then we go on to the Chicago Bears here at number 39 overall. First pick, we got Jihaad Campbell in a shocking move. I know you're saying at this point, we're going BP8. Amari Hampton won't probably be here in the actual draft. I'm just going to be real. Like, that's just the way the board fell here. We're going to get that running back for Ben Johnson in that offense. And I think we got to, get one of these running backs in the second round is a great value in general. And then on to the Jags here at number 40. And I'm going to go ahead, another playmaker. And yeah, you got Diami Brown and Gabe Davis, not tons of confidence there. So I'm going to go ahead and another playmaker that can help him in the slot, be that future Christian Kirk replacement. And it's going to be Jalen Noel, the slot mechanic weapon, Iowa State machine over there. Going to be a nice ad for them in that wide receiving room. Bears back on the clock, number 40. They got interesting positions, you're saying. Let's add some defensive line, though, right? You want to say let's bolster those trenches, right? Or even offensive line very much in the play here, too, for them, like future offensive line. But I'm going to go ahead and bolster that edge position because Montez Sweat this could be his last season. You never know, right? It definitely could be. So I'm going to go add in Nick Gordon, the edge rusher from Texas A&M. I think if you let him lose some weight, get him down to that 265 range, I think he'll be a way better pass rusher. The dude he's 20 years old still, I believe, one of the youngest players in this entire draft class. So you're getting an absolute, I believe his birthday is in August. On to the New York Jets. And remember, we didn't get a tackle in the first round. I want to go ahead and get a tackle here. Now, the tackle that I'm going to go for, I'm trying to think of a guy that can play right tackle. I think Donovan Jackson could end up being the right tackle for them. Like, they need to get somebody over there. I'm not going to experiment here, though. I'm just going to select a right tackle, a true right tackle, Jonas Savaiinaea. I believe he can play guard or tackle in the NFL. I really do. I'm actually not as worried about Savaiinaea playing tackle. He's got the size. He's got the length to do it. His feet aren't perfect, but like he's 330 plus pounds. He's a big dude that can hold the point of attack. I'm taking him here. We get Tyler Warren and Jonas Savaiinaea. I'm cool. I'm a Jets fan. I'm cool with that. I really am. I don't think it's a reach. I like Savaiinaea a lot. And then on to the 49ers, we need defensive line. Okay, let's go get defensive line. This is where the Tyreek Williams fall stops. He's going to be a plug-and-play run defender who can add some pass rush. We need defensive line bad. On to the Cowboys here, number 44. And with their first pick or their second pick here after going Tetairoa McMillan, I'm going to go ahead and invest a little bit in the defense side of the ball now, and I'm going to go after some help in the secondary for the future is the way I'm looking at this because, hey, yes, you got Malik Hooker, and you also have Donovan Wilson under contract still for this next season, but both guys are going to be free agents after this year. I think they need to add into the secondary. I'm going to go with Kevin Winston Jr., the safety from Penn State, and it wouldn't shock me if one of those guys were to be cut before the season begins. On to the Indianapolis Colts here, number 45 overall. And the Colts, we went Colston Loveland in their first pick. I'm loving it. Ba-ba-ba-ba-ba. And now into the second round here for the Indianapolis Colts. Let's go ahead and I think we could go after offensive line or we could even go after a linebacker. I'm going to go with Carson Swissinger from UCLA. This linebacker is just he's got the nose, man. He's got that itch. You know what I mean? Only a 1 year starter, but he showed enough for me. I feel great about him as a second round pick, and they needed a linebacker opposite of Jair Franklin, the beast linebacker himself. And then on to the Falcons at number 46 overall. We went Mike Green in the first round. I want to trade back. I want to get some extra draft capital here. And the team I'm trading up for is going to be the Green Bay Packers, the Pack Attack. They're coming up, giving up. Let's see. How about we give up? What should we give up? We'll give up 124 and 159. And yeah, maybe that just gets a fair value, right? So it's a fourth and a fifth rounder to come up, and it does like what 8 spots in the second round. Don't quote me. I'm kind of guessing on the chart right now, but it gives the Falcons more draft capital to be able to fill out their roster holes some more. And for the Packers, they don't have a ton of holes. I want to make sure we're getting a stud. I'm going to go get Ben Morrison. So in the first round, we got Matthew Golden. Now we go get Ben Morrison. I know they need edge talent too, and say that's a big need for them. I understand that. But at the same time, I can't pass up on Benjamin Morrison. They've been slipped so many times with great DBs that have passed because of silly reasons. I think this is, I know you say hip and a shoulder is very serious, especially the hip injury for a cornerback, but man, he's just so good. The Golden Domer, close to home too, or not too far away, and it knows how to play in the cold as well. So Ben Morrison going to be the pick there for the Packers. Number 47, Arizona Cardinals, because honestly, I would have gone Ben Morrison here. I absolutely would have. But now here for the Cardinals, and we went offensive line in the first round. Let's go ahead and bolster that defensive line some. Let's make sure we're investing in the future here. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to get Darius Alexander from Toledo, the Rocket. He is a rocket as a pass rusher, another beast on that defensive line for them. I could also see him Alfred Collins if they're looking for more of a run defending type. Definitely an option, but you at least got Dalvin Tomlinson under contract for the next year, and that's why I went after Darius Alexander to go with the other Darius on that roster, Darius Robinson. On to the Miami Dolphins. In the first round, we got Nicky Manwari, and with this pick here, we need offensive line. That's the way I'm going. I'm going Donovan Jackson, who could also be a left tackle for them too. If Patrick Paul doesn't work out, well, Donovan Jackson, I think it's a perfect scenario. Put him in left guard, but if it don't work out, he could be the left tackle there. On to the Cincinnati Bengals here, number 49 overall. First round, we went edge rusher Shamar Stewart, and with the second round, I'm going offensive line. Let's protect Joe Burrow. Come on, guys. We got to do that. I'm going to go get Tate Ratledge, the guard from Georgia, plug and play right guard for them, and just fills that spot. And easy move for Alex Kappa. On to the Seattle Seahawks. First round, we went after Kelvin Banks Jr., second pick. I'm going to go ahead and bolster the secondary some more, right? Let's go ahead and do that. Let's go add in Trey Amos. Ooh, Siobhan Revel's also a nice option. Two of these guys here. Let's go with Amos. Maybe you're a little worried about the injuries. I think Amos a little bit safer in that regard. Both good football players. Number 51 for the Broncos, we got defensive line Walter Nolan. Maybe in a shocking move for some people, but in the second round, let's go get some offense. Running back, the great value here, Travion Henderson. That's who I'm going with, the Ohio State Buckeye. Going to add some big playability in offense that hasn't had much big playability in the run game. I think their longest run was like 29 yards, 30 yards last season. Number 52, Seattle. We just saw the Seattle's deja vu all over again. I'm going to round out this draft with another defense or a trench player here, and we're going to go get Landon Jackson from Arkansas, who's going to be another player that can pull inside out. You got DeMarcus Lawrence to bring, on a short-term deal, and he's getting a little bit older, so I want to make sure we have some more talent in there. Chinonwosu is back, but once again, just continue to bolster that defensive line as much as possible. I think Landon Jackson would be a nice little ad for them. Then on to the Bucks, number 53. First round, we got Malachi Stux, the versatile safety over there. And him and Antoine Winfield, oh my gosh. Now we got to go ahead and take a look at this roster. I mean, linebacker, defense line, I guess I could always look more there. Linebacker is probably the top need. I don't know if I like anybody at this point on the board. I mean, Chris Paul is a good player. I like some of these guys down the board here. I think we can find some value in the third round. Makes a lot of sense. I'm going to go and, you know what? Screw it. We're going to build up this secondary even more in the secondary. So, yeah, I'm going Siobhan Revel. It just seems like a Todd Bowles fit, too. You can allow him to get fully healthy, give him a full season if you need him to. But this is just a future pick, banking on upside and developing these guys like they did with Zion McCollum. Now you get Siobhan Revel next in the pipeline for them. On to the Falcons, at number 54 overall. After a little trade back that we did, we did that a little bit to maneuver. And for this football team, I'm going to go ahead and add some more help in the secondary. And I'm going to select Andrew Makuba, the safety from Texas. I know you've been saying it's a little bit of a reach, you could say, just because if he was bigger, if he was 200 pounds, everyone would be like, oh, no, he's a borderline second-round pick easy, right? Like, his film is so good. That's the problem. It's just He's at 186. So that listing, that size is going to detour some teams. So that's going to be something that you just kind of have to look at, and not every defensive coordinator is going to be okay with that. But I think Jeff Ulbrich will be just fine with that in that defense. Somebody that can be another elite ball hawk for them to go along with Jesse Bates. Now you have two elite ball hawks in the secondary. Just got it. I mean, you got Jordan Fuller in there who can play. Just I think they need to add to it. At least trading down, we got some more value out of it. So that's my little thing with that. But yeah, hopefully not too terrible. And then on to the Bolts here at number 55 overall. We need to get some offense now. We got Kenneth Rand in the first round. Let's go ahead and select a beast tight end, Mason Taylor. Dane Brugler has him as a borderline first round guy. And you see on the film, he's just such a good player all around. He can block, he can catch, he's a solid route runner. He's not an elite athlete, but he knows how to get open. He's a good route runner. So Mason Taylor's the pick there to help out Justin Herbert. Give him another weapon. Do it, please. Do it now. On to the Buffalo Bills, number 56 overall here. First round, we got Jahdae Barron. Second round, I'm going to go ahead and bolster that defensive line some more. Add in a future run defender type for them. Alfred Collins, a big fella that can stop the run and take a little pressure off Daquan Jones in the run game. On to the New York Football Giants. Remember, we traded back. We got tons of extra draft capital. We got Tyler Booker. We got Ashton Jeanty. Now, we're going to go with that quarterback of the future to develop. Jalen Milroe. Row your boat. Milroe down the stream. Let's go, David. Let's bring him into the machine. I don't know. Sorry, I'm pretty bad at these stuff. But Milroe's the quarterback selection here at number 57 for the G-Man. Number 58, Houston Texans. I am going to be looking after going defensive line in the first round. Let's get some help on the offense for C.J. Stroud. And I'm saying to myself, sure, they got Cam Robinson. You got Trent Brown. But is that stopping me from getting a tackle of the future? No. I'm going to go get Ariante Ursary here. Also, I'm not going to lie, Charles Grant. I'm a huge Charles Grant fan. I'm thinking I'm not going to lie. I love Charles Grant so much. I may have to do it. But Ursary could also be a really good guard for them as well. Like I talked about Ursary as being like an unbelievable guard prospect. He can hang a tackle, though. I do think he can hang a tackle. He's a good zone blocker as well. He's got that first step quickness. It's just the lateral agility in his kick slide that sometimes worries me as a tackle. However, you figure it out. He's got the strength profile, dude. When he gets hands on you, it's over. The dude has got mitts. On to number 59, the Baltimore Ravens. After going Gray Zabel, let's go defensive line. Let's bolster that up. Get somebody else onto that defensive line, except Nnamdi Matabuki. They need some help. I'm going Shamar Turner, the Texas A&M prospect who plays with an edge. He plays with a chip. He plays with aggressiveness that is beyond anger sometimes, but that's okay because they need some help on that defensive line and some more veracity. On to the Detroit Lions. I'm going offensive line here. Let's solidify that room. Let's get ourselves some help. And I am going to go get Wyatt Millam, the guard tackle from West Virginia. But I think he moves inside the guard at the next level, and he's going to be a very good one at that. Great run blocker, fits right away with Dan Campbell in that style of offense. On to the Commanders, number 61 overall. First round, we win Donovan Ezaraku. Second round, well, I'm going to go ahead and bolster up the offense a little bit more. How about Jaden Daniels? I'm going to go select a guy that I'm a big fan of is Marcus Bowe from Purdue. The offensive lineman there, played right tackle. Probably going to move inside the guard. He's another guy, though, that I could see slow-key sticking at tackle at the next level as well. And that's fine. Like, Brandon Coleman, I don't know if he's going to move over to right tackle or if he's going to move inside to, like, left guard per se. But Cosme being out for probably the good chunk of next season. Nick Algretti is okay, but could they upgrade? Absolutely. So you got a couple of locked-in starters with Laramie Tunsil, obviously. Brandon Coleman should fill in like either a guard or right tackle position. You got Tyler Biadasz at center. You still have Andrew Wiley under there, but could they upgrade there? Absolutely. So that's why I'm saying like Bo can either go right guard or right tackle of the future, depending on Coleman. They'll figure it out. They just need some more offensive line. Next up, we got the Buffalo Bills at 62. And after going both defense, hook 'em horn players, the only area that I would say on offense is really sticking out to me would be offensive line for the future because David Edwards will be going to a contract year. Connor McGovern will be going to a contract year. They did invest in Cedric Van Pran last year, so he could be the developmental center for them. Receiver wise, I think they're okay. Running back wise, if James Cook does end up, if they have to trade him, then running back could very much be in play. But for right now, I'm just not going to go that route. I'm not ready to go there yet. Tight end's good to go. So their offense looks pretty dang good. Safety sticks out to me. I mean, they could always invest in edge rushers. Joey Bosa is only under contract for one more year. AJ Epinez is under contract 1 more year. You got Michael Hoyt though on a couple-year contract, so it's not like a huge need, even though if that probably is the best player available right now, they could go that way. I'm actually gonna trade back. The team I'm gonna move up with here is the New England Patriots, and I'm gonna give up pick 69, so it's not super far away to go. I'm going to do that. And this allows the Bills to kind of, I know it is an in division trade, but they do happen. Okay. Maybe Mike Vrabel is willing to work something out. I know it's a little tricky in that regard, and maybe they have to give up a little extra. So we're going to give up a 4th rounder. Maybe we'll exchange pick 70 for that. So it does allow the Bills to get a little more in between here. And then for the Patriots, I'm moving up for a playmaker that's fallen, and I'm going at Jaden Higgins, the Iowa State big wide receiver with explosive speed, going to be a really nice add and can hopefully be this team's outside #1 wide receiver. And then we go on to the Kansas City Chiefs here at 63, and that's another reason I was kind of trying to jump the Chiefs to the Patriots because I could see them going after a Jaden Higgins type there. But with the Chiefs, I'm going to go ahead and, with this point, I would say they've gone Josh Conley in the 1st round. I'm going to go and add an interior defense lineman. They need to add somebody next to, I mean, long haul, you got Jerry Tillery, but is that, really gonna, like, I want to make sure we need to add somebody next to Chris Jones. I'm gonna go get TJ Sanders from South Carolina on that defensive line. Philly, let's go. 1st round, we got Xavier Watts. 2nd round, I'm hearing a lot of trade rumors going on about Dallas Goedert. Let's go get Elijah Arroyo here from Miami, the Hurricane. Going to be a great developmental tight end that could start a right away if Dallas got it, I went away right away if he does leave. Moving on to round number 3, and the G-men are on the clock, and we've gone all offense in this draft. Unbelievable. Let's change that. Let's go defense here. Let's add some help, and we're going to go add an interior player next to Sexy Dexy. A lot of good football players still on the board as well. I'm going to go add in let's see here. How about we go add in Omar Norman Lott, the Tennessee Volunteer. He volunteers himself to go to New York and be a great combination next to Sexy Dexy. Just add more pass rush in there. Yeah, you got Roy Robinson Harris. Raheem Roaches is still there. Maybe you look for more of a run defender type. That could be an option too. I could totally see that. But we're going to go with the pass rush in Omar Norman Lott. Chiefs back on the clock at 66 overall. Let's add a running back. They need at 1-2 punch Isaiah Pacheco. Yeah, Kareem Hunt's back, but I still want to add somebody else. I'm going to go with Quinshawn Junk. Ooh, Kim Scattaboo. Who is Kim Scattaboo? I'm going to go with Judkins here. Just think with it, he's a little more athletic. I mean, Scattaboo's so fun to watch too, and he'd be a great ad for this team. But let's go and go Judkins. It's a close call between those two. But I want to add another running back in there. Cleveland now on the clock. And speaking of running back, we're going to add a running back. This is where Cam Scattaboo is off the board. We're taking that running back of the future. Scattaboo. He can play everywhere else. Another versatile guy. He's going to be another culture setter that they need in the locker room. My Minnesota Vikings here at number 68. We got Isaiah Thomas. Remember, we traded back. That allows us to get more draft capital to invest in this roster for the future. I'm going to keep those trenches coming, right? They need to continue to invest here. I'm going to go get Jonas Sanker from Virginia. Really good athlete. He's going to be a nice player that can come down in the box and play the run at a super high level. Can also cover as well in the back end. He's very versatile in that regard. And in very much an aggressive scheme that Brian Flores plays, I think Sanker is going to be able to make plays, especially down low in the box. Plus, if they end up letting go Josh Metellus, he could fit right into that role next season. So he's going to be somebody in that mold. You got Theo Jackson, who more can be like an over-the-top defender that also gives you versatility across that line. But I think Sanker would be a nice little addition to go along with Harrison, the hitman, potentially retiring after this season, Smith. On to the Bills now after the trade back. I also want to invest in a safety here or an offensive lineman in general, like one of those two positions I think are the areas I may be looking at. But let's go and get a safety. Okay, let's go get a reliable safety, somebody that I think can be another playmaker in their back end. Now, the tackling is a little bit of a concern, but Billy Bowman is just one of my guys in this guy. I'm a huge Billy Bowman fan. He just makes plays. He really does. He's such an instinctual safety, and that's really what they're missing. And Cole Bishop's going to be a really good player for them at some point. I think he's going to develop and be a very good year 2 guy for them. But Billy Bowman and Cole Bishop, those two will be your future safety duo. On to the Jags here, and the Jacksonville Jaguars. We went wide receiver. We went interior defensive line. Let's continue to invest in the secondary now. Let's go get some more help on the defense side of the ball. Also, edge is another area. Remember, we do have a pick at 88. So since they brought in Jordan Lewis, you got Jerry and Jones. Of course, you got Campbell. I'm going to go get another edge rusher because that's something that they need really, really bad. Let's go get JT Tuimolau, the edge rusher from the Ohio State University. Great football player. I mean, he was one of the most solid players in this draft class. I just feel like he's going to come in and be a very, very good player. On to the Saints here, and we got Jalen Walker, we got Maxwell Harrison. The Derek Carr conversation is very curious. It's building my curiosity at this point because if things keep coming out that that shoulder is going to need surgery and he's not ready, then quarterback definitely in play. I struggle selecting a quarterback for them because I still believe in Spencer Rattler as a good backup for them that can develop. He's got some talent, and it just doesn't make sense because Derek Carr, with his contract, he's like the guaranteed money is still into next year. You can't get out of it. That is going to be hit on the cap for like 50 plus $1 million. I'm just not selecting a quarterback to just pick one here and whatever. Like, I don't know. It's kind of where I'm at right now. It's a little bit tricky of a scenario. I would rather use this pick in other areas on this offense. And I think Caleb Johnson's the exact player that they would be looking for to go along with Alvin Kamara. Is more of that pure runner. Kamara, obviously, with his receiving ability, still a good pure runner. But I just love the combination there, and they need to get somebody else in that running back room. They've been looking for a good number 2 for a minute. On the Chicago Bears here, and we had 72, remember we went Jihaad Campbell in the first round, Omarion Hampton and Nick Gordon there. Now, I think we're going to be looking between wide receiver and a tight end. I need another weapon in here. Some people say offensive line. I can see that too. Like, you still need to invest in the future. Braxton Jones, the injury concern is certainly a possibility, so I could understand that. But I still am banking on the development of Karan Amagaji as a good swing tackle for them, and it gives him another year. I like Braxton Jones. I'm a fan of him. I've watched more film on Braxton Jones than probably any other tackle in the past 2 years. Just needs to get stronger. It's really what it is. With this case scenario, I would just say you add the best weapon, whether it's tight end or wide receiver. I'm going to go with Kyle Williams here from Washington State, who has more speed for Ben Johnson, can be the deep threat, and maybe a little bit of the Jamison Williams in their offense. He's got speed for days. On to the Jets, and we're going to go get some defensive line help. Who's going to be that guy long term next to Quentin Williams? Well, let's address that right now with Jordan Phillips. Big, solid, stout run defender type that they could use that's chiseled up like a gorilla. And I mean that in a good way. There's no racial terms in that. Oh my gosh. I'm so terrible. Oh my gosh. I meant that in a good way. I really did. Oh my gosh. Crazy stuff out here. Yeah, you're gonna get flagged over here, but I mean that in a good. I would say that about a white person too. I promise I would. But it's not like I'm pulling the Howard Cosell out here. I'm talking about monkeys. He's done that too with white people as well. So yeah, I apologize. There's no racial context behind that at all. I promise. On to unbelievable G slang. Woo! I didn't know you swung that way over here out here, swinging and batting. But no, we're cool. We cool. On to the Carolina Panthers, and we got edge rusher. I'm discombobulated right now. I'm sweating. I'm pulling on to the Carolina Panthers though here. Yeah, no, we're keeping that, man. We got this. We got this thing going. We got this rocking. And the Panthers now on the clock. We got Abdul Carter in the first round. I want to go ahead and add a wide receiver for the future. I'm going to add another dynamic threat in here. In one of the safest players in this draft class, it's Xavier Restrepo, going to be a beastly 10 to 20 yard where Bryce Young just thrives making plays there, reading the field. Get to Restrepo, get open quick, Restrepo. I can do that, he says. Get a beast there. I also thought about safety. However, I just looked at the safety board and I was like, I don't know if I want to wait. I can wait until round 4 for the Panthers and get somebody there to help. And then on to the Las Vegas Raiders at 75. This is self-explanatory. I'm adding a running back. I'm going Trevor Etienne from Georgia. Just a really good football player that has great vision, solid contact balance, not elite contact balance or power, but he just reads lanes so easily. He can be a threat as a blocker in the backfield and also as a receiving element. I'm also going to add a running back for the Cowboys too. And I'm going to go and add Dylan Sampson from Tennessee, the explosive speedster who has very similar traits to someone like a Tony Pollard. And I think that's what he can be for this team in this offense. Then we go on to the New England Patriots at 77. I'm going to continue to invest in the offensive line. And there's a chance Cole Strange does not work out for them. I'm going to go with Jared Wilson. Now, Garrett Bradbury is another guy where it's like I feel like they could still add in the draft and upgrade that department too. So, yes, he's under contract after this next season too, but I would still recommend trying to draft somebody there. And Wilson could also play guard. I don't think he's 100% limited to the center position. I like him at the center position, but he could also play at guard if they needed him to and just give you more depth on that interior. They need to continue to invest there. Cardinals, number 78. I'm adding somebody that's going to help them out in the run game day one, Danny Studsman, the stud linebacker from Oklahoma. He is just so good at diagnosing run plays and shooting gaps. And, he's got the size profile. He have to get better in zone coverage? Yes, that's going to be a little bit of a limiting factor for him. But overall, like, he's going to be a really good linebacker for them, especially in those run scenarios, stop the run, which has been a bit of a problem for the Cardinals lately. Next up, I'm adding a running back here for the Houston Texans, R.J. Harvey. He just does a lot of the things that be a great complement to Joe Mixon in that offense. Get a 1-2 punch. You got Daryl Gumbawali, great special teamer, but still could use a good, reliable backup if Joe Mixon were to get injured or just take pressure off him at this point in his career. Indianapolis Colts, we've gone tight end, we've gone linebacker. With this next pick, I really am leaning towards offensive line, and continuing to maybe add a right guard for them is certainly in the cards. And the guy that I'm going to add here is going to be, oh, I think he should be under the guard position. Why am I looking? If I'm going guard, you should look under the guards, right? She's like, what are you doing? I'm going Miles Frazier from LSU, right guard there. Also has some left guard experience, can be a plug and play right guard after losing Will Fries. On to numbers 81. We're on 81 already. Dang. Cincinnati Bengals. We're up here, and we got a guard with their last pick. We went edge rusher, and now I want to add some secondary. Come on, bolster the secondary. You're saying we need some help there. And I'm actually going to go with a cornerback that could also play safety, is Noel Williams from California. He's one of the smartest cornerbacks. He plays with a physical toughness to his game. He just is a dog, man. He doesn't have elite speed, and that's why I'm saying he could end up playing safety with his tackling prowess, and it's just nuance for the game, his understanding and reading coverages and stuff like that. You can stick this guy into any sort of scheme as well, and I think he can do it. And just going to add some more help. Like, they just need help in the secondary. No matter how you strike it, shape it, Al Golden, let's improve that secondary. Then we go on to the Seattle Seahawks at 82. And I'm going to go and invest in a tackle or a swing tackle. Now, this will be a tackle, is Ozzie Trapillo from Boston College. Right tackle, can be a good developmental guy behind Abe Lucas. And if Lucas gets injured, if those injuries keep arising, it's important to have that swing tackle. So keeping that depth is so important for them. Then we go on to the Pittsburgh Steelers at number 83. First round, we got Shedeur Sanders. It's a shocker one, I know, but Shedeur Sanders. And now what I'm going to do here is get some defensive help. Let's get some help in either the defensive interior here, depending on who's available. I think there's some really good football players that they can develop. So that's what I'm going to do. Yeah, you brought in Daniel Quale, who's a good football player, but they could still use some much needed help there. And I'm going to do that by adding in C.J. West from Indiana. I feel like he's underrated, and I haven't shown him enough. I'm a Hoosier, man. I graduated there. I am a huge C.J. West fan, and it also take a little bit of pressure off Keanu Benton, who could play more pass rushing roles, because C.J. can hold up at the point. Bucks at 84. They went after two secondary players. Let's say I had some other help here. And I'm going to be looking at going on the defense side of the ball still. Okay, I mean, defense, just continue to bolster that up. We'll enter the pass rush. There's so many good edge rushers here as well. Let's go Princey Umamiyan. Oh my gosh, the pass rushers available are crazy good. Keep that trend going. Let's go get Hosea Stewart from Michigan, the Wolverine, and continue to bolster that pass rush with Nick Benito and Jonathan Cooper. They also have Jonah Ellis, too, in that pass. So, I mean, that would give them four really good pass rushers, I feel like. And then the Chargers, you know what? The Chargers also need pass rusher. Now we're seeing the run on pass rushers. Like let's go back to LSU. Let's go Brennan Switson from LSU. Really good football player, can bring some speed to power out there. And he shows some good creativity with his hands as well. I don't think he's the most bendy or crazy athlete or anything like that, but he's definitely going to give him a really solid number 4 pass rusher with Tui Pelotu, Bud Dupree, and Khalil Mack. Then onto the Packers. You know what? They also need pass. Okay, I was just complaining about where all these edge rushers going. We're about to have 4 we already went with the edge rusher for the Jags too, but we're going to go pass rusher here. They need some more depth in there. They need some speed off the edge. I'm going to go get Kyle Kennard from South Carolina. He gives them some much needed speed to power, and that's something they're missing. He wins with that outside speed move quite a bit. On to the Jags, and we're going, voice crack, we went 2 defensive line players, we went with a wide receiver. Now let's bolster up the defense some more with Dorian Strong from Virginia Tech. And then on to the Jacksonville Jaguars at number 88 overall, and we've kind of gone 2 defensive linemen and 1 playmaker for Trevor Lawrence. With this next pick, I think I'm going to go ahead and improve the secondary some more between safety and cornerback. Those are the 2 areas I'm going to be looking at here. For me, at this point on the board, I'm gonna go with Dorian Strong. I think he'll be a really, really nice addition for them. He's probably gonna be somebody that can play a little more zone coverage as well. I think he's got some of the best route feel in this entire draft class. He's just not an elite athlete, and that's gonna be something that holds him back. He doesn't have elite size either. I just think he's gonna be a very good number 4 corner at minimum for them, and it just gives him a little bit more depth on the outside with Jerrion Jones, and Jones, going into that outside position for the full time. That's going to be something to keep an eye out on. Just have some more depth. And Campbell's been injured too throughout a little bit. So on to Houston Texans here, where we've gone all over the board. One running back, tackle, and a defensive interior. I'm going to add another playmaker. I'm going to go get Jack Besh from TCU. Some of these receivers at this point are really good value, and I think Besh would be a great option for them. Oh, they would have liked that too, I'm sure. So you're stealing it right in front of the Rams, getting a good playmaker there. Speaking of the Rams now, I'm going to address some secondary woes. Let's continue to invest here. And I am going to go with the best available secondary player. That's Jacob Parrish. We can work it out, right? I mean, Quentin Lake can, drop back into safety. He's a versatile player. I'm not super worried about that. I think that Jacob Parrish is too good not to take. He's one of the best cornerbacks in terms of just pure fluidity and route stickiness. He's just not overly physical. The size is going to be a bit of a problem versus those bigger, stronger guys. And that's one thing I will say. The Rams, I would like to get somebody with some more size. Darren Porter, just a little more of a developmental guy than I'd like, even though, I mean, they did bring it back Ahkello Witherspoon, so I could understand that pick too. On to the Ravens here at 91. In the first round, we went Gray Zabel, defensive interior with Shamar Turner. And now I want to go ahead and add some at linebacker. I'm going to go with Demetrius Knight Jr. This is just in case for the long haul. I'll be real. Trent Simpson, wasn't a huge fan of him this year, but he is still a young player. Going to be going to year number 3. I just want to continue to bolster that depth. I mean, they lost Chris Board. That's a tough loss, too. He's a great special teamer. Demetrius Knight's kind of a guy that I feel very highly of, can come in there and be a reliable player for them. Then we go on to the Seattle Seahawks. I'm going to go add in a big upside wide receiver in Savion Williams from TCU, who's just going to be somebody that can win on the outside vertical track with some more speed. And that's the one thing I would say that they're missing in this offense right now after losing Tyler Lockett. Yeah, you got your stud Jackson Smith and Jigba in the slot. You bring in Cooper Kupp, who's going to really help you out. But who's going to be that vertical threat in the offense to keep those guys getting open underneath and in the mid portions of the field? That can be someone like a Savion Williams, or a Torrey Horton would be a good pick too, in my opinion. El Manor should be an option. Then on to the New Orleans Saints here at number 93. I'm going to go ahead and improve the offensive line some more. I want to get Anthony Belton here, who I can see playing guard for this football team. So powerful, so strong that you just cannot, I mean, you cannot explain how strong this guy is. The dude is literally bench pressing guys at the Senior Bowl. These are not FCS competition. This is unbelievable. Anthony Belton is going to be a really good player there. If you move him inside the guard, it limits some of those foot issues with him, and just let him use that strength profile. On to the Cleveland Browns here. We got Travis Hunter, we got Jackson Dart, and we got Cam Skatta. Boo! Now, voice crack big time. We're really going today. But now I'm going to go ahead and look at improving, adding a tight end for them. I'm going to go and add in Terrence Ferguson. Harold Fanning's also interesting. Ooh, man, I like Fanning a lot. I like Ferguson a lot. I mean, you think Ferguson has a super high floor. Fanning's a great football player, has more receiving help. Let's do it. Let's go get Jackson Dart another weapon here. I'm going to go Harold Fanning Jr., be that 1-2 punch there with David Njoku. And Njoku was going in last year of his contract too and coming off some injuries. Then on to the Kansas City Chiefs at number 95 overall, and a lot of good wide receivers still available. And you know what? I'm actually thinking about it at this point. Isaiah Bond, after getting arrested, I think he ends up falling quite a bit. I'm going to get a bigger bodied outside wide receiver. I'm going to go with Trey Harris. Something that, no, that they don't have to get this. This is not something that Andy Reid always looks for. Actually, let's go with a little more speed here with El Manor. He does have more speed on the outside, and he can be that prototypical guy, but also be a deep threat for their offense. I mean, they lost Justin Watson. Yeah, you bring back Marquise Hollywood Brown, but a lot of these guys have had injuries or coming back from injuries. So Rashee Rice as well. Like, those are all things. He might have a suspension. I want to make sure we're improving the weapons there for Patrick Mahomes. And then on to the Philadelphia Eagles here. We're really getting to the end of this draft. We went safety. We went tight end. Let's go ahead and invest in the offensive line now for the future. I'm going to go get Charles Grant from William and Mary, one of my favorite players in the draft. Huge fan of this guy. What he can develop into is insane. And you can develop him to that right tackle. Let him get into Jeff Stoutland University for a couple of years behind Lane Johnson, and it's over. The tools are crazy. On to the Minnesota Vikings. Skull, skull, skull. And I'm going to be looking, adding some help on the offense now. I'm going to go get Dylan Fairchild from Georgia. Maybe not a name you see very often. You're like, he's on number 288 on the big board. What are you doing? Why are you doing this to our team? Do you hate the Minnesota Vikings? No, I love it. Skull, skull, skull. I love Dylan Fairchild. Done a full review on Fairchild. I think he kicks butt on that interior. He's got such pop on contact. He looks to bully guys. He brings the fight to dudes. Yeah, his balance isn't always perfect. I think he's gonna be a very good football player. Whoever gets this guy, he's gonna open up lanes and be a beast. On to the Dolphins here. We went safety, we went offensive line, and again, I like that versatile pick. Now with this next one for the Dolphins, I think cornerback. We got to improve the secondary some more. I am going to go get. Let's go. Ooh, man, this is a tough one. There's some really good, interesting football players on the board, but let's go get Darian Porter. A lot of upside here with his size, athletic profile. Kobe Bryant would also be a nice fit, especially if they're looking for more of a day one start. I think Bryant would be a really good selection too. Struggling with this one. I'm not gonna lie. I'm thinking about this one right now. I haven't made up my mind on it still, so I'm kind of stumbling trying to figure this one out as I'm talking right now. But let's go ahead and go with our first instinct. Let's just go with Darian Porter here, help out that secondary. But on to the G-Men with their final pick at 99. And you're like, oh my gosh, we have so many picks for the Giants. I'm almost tired of watching all these picks from the Giants. You're giving us so much. Why'd you trade down and give us so many picks now? So you're like, let's go. I'm going to go add in it's either another corner or another edge rusher. Let's go get some more depth at edge. We need some more depth there. I'm going to go grab Jordan Birch here from Oregon. Go get the duck. Bring him into that defensive line. Another pass rusher. Give him some depth. Remember, I didn't go Abdul Carter. So let's get some depth off the edge. 49ers, yeah, we're going to do the same. We're going to go grab edge rusher here. They need to get an edge rusher. I am going to go David Walker, Olufemi Oladejo, Ashton Jeanty. Oh my gosh, there's still some good ones on the board. Let's go with Olufemi Oladejo. A lot of upside here with him. He's got some traits to work with and could be a good developmental passer. Should go with Nick Bosa. Number 101 for the Rams. We went corner. We went edge. Let's try to add maybe some help on the offense side of the ball here for Matthew Stafford. And what I mean by help, I mean a developmental quarterback behind him. I know, but hey, at this point, I'm trying to figure out where these quarterbacks go. It's such a tough one, man. Now, I know you're seeing it's up for discussion on who's QB5 at this point. I'm gonna go off my board, okay? Now, I know a lot of people have Tyler Shook or whatever, but I'm gonna go with Will Howard, Kyle McCord. I like Riley Leonard. Gabriel would be a nice option too, but maybe they went with the short guys earlier. They got Stetson Bennett. Let's go for more of a prototypical size, and we're gonna go with Will Howard from the Ohio State University to be a good backup understudy behind Matthew Stafford. And then finishing up the draft here with the Detroit Lions, I am going to change things up a little bit here. I could see a lot of areas of them going, but Trey Harris is still on the board. So get a nice little Tim Patrick understudy here, and Trey Harris can be that X outside weapon for them in the long haul to go with JMO and the wing dragon of Raw and Amon Ra. So I'm going to get Trey Harris to finish up the draft for this 3-rounder with some trades. But that's going to do it here for a 3-round mock draft. Let me know what you think. Did you hate it? What did you hate about it? Did I screw up your pick? Why did I pick Shedeur Sanders and the Pittsburgh Steelers you might be adding? We're getting Aaron Rodgers. Well, yeah, that's pretty much why. But anyway, and definitely just like I said, hit me up what you think. Let me go through the second and third round so you can take a look at the recap on that, and feel free to pause it wherever you like, and we'll kind of just go through these and see what we did. And especially if you're skipping forward, if you're short on time, I totally understand those busy schedules out there, man. It could be crazy. So here it is. We'll finish this up here, and like I said, I hope you guys have a really good day and keep it cooling out there.